Mhlabeni has given you so many titles, so many things that you could say about yourself. But I want to ask, what do you say to yourself about you when you wake up?
It is one of the hardest things to deal with.
Yeah.
I see myself as Unati, which gets me into a lot of trouble because not everyone sees that. Everyone sees the brand, everyone sees the DJ, everyone sees the producer. So I interact with people as Unati, whereas they interact to me as someone else, someone who's a bit far from them. So it is not the greatest things, but I refuse to see myself as Black Coffee. I see myself as that same guy who has dreams, who's always wanted to do all these great things. I remember watching an interview, Puff Daddy, and he was saying, you know, when I put on my shades, I become Puff, and my attitude towards anything changes. You can't tell me nothing. Once I put on my shades, I become Puff.
Sure.
When my shades are off, then I'm Sean. I'm the chilled guy. And see, I don't have those shades, to become a supernatural human being. I'm always the same guy. And sometimes it gets the best of me.
Sure.
Yeah.
That you know what makes that so difficult is when umuntu ofana nawe Putomi is so blessed, and I believe in the saying, the more blessed you are, is the more challenged you become.
Yeah, man.
And in your case, people want to meet Black Coffee. But today, can I ask Nyatel?
Yeah.
Can I please meet Putnight? I want to speak to Putnight.
This is the guy. This is me every day. That's what I was explaining earlier. This is me. I don't ever feel. This is why I drove from my house alone. I don't have a security guard.
Oh yes. Come to
this
that.
Is me.
Come to that. At the recent, what was it called? The event it was at Nazareth Road recently. I heard Ultra. You Uber to Ultra, and you didn't want a driver, you didn't want a bouncer, and at some stage, Bati, from the person that I heard from, you got there and there was a big blockage, and you actually walked out of your car into the crowd and into the venue.
I did. This is Ultra Miami.
Yes.
This is Ultra Miami. Yes, man. It's not the local Ultra. Look, I believe that music got me to where I am today. Growing up, I wasn't that kid who wanted the spotlight, who wanted all the fame. I just love music. So I've just followed my path in music. And my path in music got me here, which sometimes conflict with who I am and my values and things that I want to do. I always say if I wasn't a DJ, I wouldn't even be going to clubs. I'm that guy who having a great time to me is something else. I'm not a clubber. I try sometimes as a DJ to go and hang out, but it's not me as much as I'm a DJ, So music got me to where I am, but in reality, I'm just a guy who just loves music. I never thought I want to be like a superstar DJ. And, in music, I thought I want to work with so-and-so. I want my music to travel so much. Those are two different things, man. It is a very complex situation to be in. But every day, I learn to deal with new things. I learn to deal with new things.
If you're just joining the conversation, we are hanging out this morning with Nkosinathi Maphumulo, and who is internationally known as the real Black Coffee. And I mean, so many things can be said about Open Coffee, as we'd say. But for me today, for the listener, you'd have to pardon me. I just want to know about Nkosinathi, because the biggest inspiration is not what you become, but where you come from to become.
Yeah, man. That's true.
And that makes it so different. Recently, you got married to the amazing woman. I remember watching your wife on TV, and this woman is amazing. And then tell what I would go from Tachirita Maraganja. And I want to tap into a bit of that in the family man side of your life. Is that
Yeah.
we get to see things that are only exclusive to certain newspapers or media privileges.
Don't read the newspapers, man.
Yes, I said this so many times, but today at least I have confirmation.
I'm going to say that on air. You know, otherwise you're going to be so. It's very sad. You know, you read, you get misinformed. You don't read, you are uninformed. It's very sad. We have an amazing life with that woman, you know, and it is so simple, you know. And from outside, when you're looking from outside, you wouldn't see that, you know. We've surrounded ourselves with the things that we love all the way. We don't do things we don't want to do because we are famous people. You know, we have surrounded ourselves with the world that we really, really, really want to be in, you know, which is family and our kids and we are home buddies. You know, we forever at home. That's it, man. We don't know the glam and the fleshy life. You know, we just do things that we love every day, whether it's food. If we want food we love, we take a car, we go to a Chisanyama if we want, you know, we go to a Sakumzi if we want. You know, you won't find us trying to behave like superstars. You know, we've defined our world with the things that we really, really, really love.
Sure. Lele, I don't know.
I mean,
My questions are there, but I'm like, I just want to take this in, just to realize, bro, how humble you are. It's weird. It's
it
weird.
brings me to the question that I have. I mean, you are like now a person that's known all over the world, that's recognized, that's celebrated.
Paris Hilton will be like, hey,
Exactly.
black coffee,
You
hey.
still remain so grounded and humble. How do you do that? How do you stop yourself from becoming that person that's just like, no, don't touch me, or no, I can't be going to campus radio stations, or no, I'm gonna have my entourage with me everywhere I go. How do you stay
You know
grounded and
what the
prevent
problem
that?
is? I think first and foremost, we are people, we're human, and that's it, man. I don't care how much money you have, you're human. How do you relate to other people? You know, and people talk about my humbleness and mix it with fame. So if I wasn't famous, was I allowed not to be humble?
Ooh. Hey.
You know, so they mix the two, like, you so big, but yet you so accessible. So what are you trying to say? If I wasn't big, then didn't matter if I was humble or not.
Or not.
You know what I mean? Being humble to me is being real just to myself, you know, being woke. And because I believe when you are real to yourself, you see everything around you. You see all the signs God sent to you. You know, every light He throws at you, you are fully aware because you are yourself. You're not pretending to be someone else. And that's where, for me, the journey begins. You know, it begins with me being so real and being so excited by the things that really, really excite me. I don't care where I am.
Yeah.
You know, last night at the launch, Euphonic was playing, and me and my wife started, you know, going to dance. And,
Yes. Oh, that was such
you
a
know,
beautiful
but
moment.
that's what we feel like doing.
Yeah.
That's being real to us.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a show. For me, that is being humble, being aware of who you are and not expecting anyone to tell you that you're so big, you can't be sitting here. Because I've heard those things before. Like, you travel alone. I prefer traveling alone, like across the world. You're so big, you can't be traveling alone. You know, for me, this is what I want to do. You know, for me, that is being aware of who I am, and I don't need an entourage. I don't need a group of security. If there is a need to, then I will have, you know. But like coming here, this is a peaceful place. No one is here to do anything to me. So I'll wake up and come alone, you know. So that's where I have a problem when people say, you so big, but man, you are so humble.
Humble, yeah.
You know, so people that are not as big as I am are not supposed to be humble. You know, I think that's where we as human beings have it wrong, where we expect someone who's famous not to be accessible. That's why my situation is so unique, and people are like, "Wow, you're so different," but I am normal.
Yeah.
I'm not different. This is how it's supposed to be.
To be, yeah. Wow, that is amazing. I mean, when you eventually got to crack into the international space, what kind of feeling was that for you? And had it been something that you'd always want to achieve, or was it just the enjoyment of music that just kind of pushed you and propelled you to actually go now into the international space?
It's something that I've always wanted to do. As a kid, you know, I used to have like dreams of being friends with the most famous people, you know, make music with them. Even though I didn't even know how to make music at the time, I had this dream that I want to make music, I want to travel, I want to, go far with music, but getting to the space, it was a brand new thing. I had to make a lot of sacrifices. I had to be away from home a lot. At the time when I started, I was doing very well here in the country. I had to leave the gigs and go do gigs for less, because I knew I was planting seeds, I was starting a career, and it would cost me to go overseas, but I didn't mind, and it would cost me a lot, not just in money, because we were trying to break into a new place. The music was different. We were very careful about how we also place ourselves. We were strict about flyers. When he's saying black coffee from South Africa, don't put some African masks and Congo drums and bongos. And, we wanted to be within, I had to look the part, it was a lot of, it wasn't just me getting up and get there and play. There was a lot of planning behind it. We were very strict. With the clubs that we play, we didn't go to places where we were not needed because they're calling us. We'd want to know who has played there before. Is it part of the scene that we're trying to represent? It was quite a journey to get in there.
Sure. Yeah. It is UJFM Breakfast Shake Up. In a bit, we'll get back into the conversation, but most importantly, I want to get into the part whereby Nkosinathi, at the age of 13, encountered something that was life-changing.
Amen.
Someone would say, Mina, I got into a situation and it's been the biggest curse. But Kofi can easily say, I would say, is that it was one of his biggest blessings.
Yeah.
One of the biggest blessings, and we get to chat about that and how you, the young person, can take your situation and turn it around. He's turning his situation around. He's turned it. But there is a mindset to it. We'll chat about that in a bit. Oh! Right? I asked him a question last night, and he threw it and said, listen, I'll answer it tomorrow morning on the show. So I hope that you have my first answer ready, Kofi, because the first question...
forgot about the question. But
that question is...
Yeah, I know the question. No, I forgot to think about that.
So the question is for the listener, is that what character would you be if you were to be a cartoon character in the world?
Oh, that question. Let me see. Who was the coolest? I think growing up I used to watch Donald Duck. And there was Uncle Scrooge, that guy with a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm that guy.
So
I remember how he used to dive into his gold and
yes, in the safe and swim in it. Oh goodness. So okay, cool. So from now on, he's not just DJ Black Coffee, aka Uncle Scrooge.
Uncle Scrooge.
Yes, that's me. I'm that uncle.
That's question number one. Question number two, Chiefs or Pirates?
Chiefs, man, come on.
Wow. How dare you? How dare you?
We are hurt.
How dare you? We are so hurt. We are so hurt. But I mean, in the evolution of life, third question, what is the one meal that you would recommend to the next person? Let's say if you like, yeah, there's something you're like, Yazin, you should try this.
Man, when it comes to food, I'm not that fancy. You know, but something that my wife always does when I come back is to go and get inkomazi and make uputu for me.
Nice.
I don't know if I'd recommend that to the next person. That's me. That's what I like.
Hold on.
Every now and then.
I need to video make sure this. La 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 la. Skatelo when Ubuti every time you want us to buy expensive things at the restaurant, say no put it in not to do
Nenkomazi.
La la la. Listen here, you. We are tired. Next time, girl, you don't try me. Don't try me with Chamazini and things. No, say you put. Question number 4. If there was one thing in the world that you could change, what would it be? Thing. It could be an event. It could be a physical thing, not a mindset per se.
I'll take away fear from the human body.
Fear.
Powerful.
Yeah, we fear. We have so much fear. We fear to dream. We fear to go and try. We fear to fail. We fear to succeed. We fear to be great. We fear to be amazing. You know, fear holds us back so much, and it's one thing I struggle with every day. Not to be afraid, not to be afraid to love, not to be afraid to carry on. You know, people say, "Man, you done. You know, you must be done now. What's next?" I'm like, I haven't even started. You know, because people fear failure, so they will sit down and think, if I try and fail, it's gonna affect me so much.
Yeah.
You know, it's fear, man. Fear has held us hostage for the longest time as people.
Sure. One of the things that I carry with me from what you just said this morning, being aware of yourself is important. Be excited about the things you love the most.
Yeah, man.
Sure. And last question. Now, this is a hard one. If you had to pick a female president in South Africa, I know you're politically aligned or inclined, but you do your best to stay out of politics. I mean, we look at the likes of Cyril Ramaphosa. He was in the backseat for the longest time.
Yeah.
But if you had to influence the next female president, who would it be?
Balega Mbete.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah, man.
I'm disappointed, in opinion. And I'm
Right.
ready.
Why are you
Okay.
disappointed?
You
I'm
asked me
ready.
a question, I answered you.
Okay, fair enough. And I'm gonna
I'm
challenge.
sorry so much you like, but that's my honest answer.
I'm gonna challenge that question in seeking understanding. In your opinion, do you believe that she carries a characteristic that is beyond inspirational? Because I mean, when you're president, you're not just anyone. You're someone who, the young girl, the young boy says, "This is Umtengam Temba. This is a person who will take my kids to the
How
future."
inspirational is our president today?
Personally, I'm not inspired.
There you go. So you just said you wanted an inspirational president, and I just gave you one. You know, we as a country are very young,
Sure.
and what we suffer mostly from just outside politics. No president at the moment could be perfect for us. I don't care how good that president was, because we still have a lot of issues to deal with personally. Our culture is slowly disappearing. We got our freedom, and we are now supposed to be the proudly black nation.
Sure.
But all my kids, I've literally taken them to multiracial schools and paid a lot of money, basically giving them back to the people that were pressing me to take care of my kids.
Sure. Yeah.
So my kids spend most of the time with them. They have excursions, they have sleepovers. Every weekend is jam-packed with activities that I don't have time with them. They are being taught things that I don't know every day by the person. When I'm saying person, I don't mean individually. by the people that were in power before.
Sure.
So slowly our culture is disappearing because we as parents are told, please speak more English with the kids at home too. So isiZulu is something that is slowly fading away. Not just the language, but the culture, like I said, because they now have new things to do every weekend. They camp, they travel, and they see themselves as equal, and they are told they are equal. But those kids are not going to be leaders of the black society.
But as a parent that is aware of such things, how are you then taking control of that situation and having your kids now grounded back into the tradition or the roots?
It's home. It's home. It's where you have to do most of the job. Like I said, though, how much hours do I have? When they at school now, after school, there's all the activities, and then in the afternoon they are back home. I only have a small window with the kids, a small gap. So we need to get to a point where we realize that as much as everything has changed, we haven't changed our education system. We haven't changed how the young ones see the world. And that's where, for me, Mambalega Mbete comes in, where she's involved. And it's not just how amazing you are in politics, it's how amazing you are with people.
Sure.
That's where my answer comes from. How are you planting back seeds? Because unfortunately, politics they've become a business. When we were younger, politics meant we want freedom, we want freedom, we want freedom. Today we have the freedom.
And then,
what are we fighting for? What are the politics today? We don't know. We don't know why the president keeps reshuffling people. We are out of it, and like I said, we must always also remember we are young, we are new. No president today is going to be good for us because we are struggling with so much. The black people are so fed up. The white people are so fed up. There's something that's brewing. We don't trust each other. You remember that Mandela magic,
yes,
the rugby matches, and every now and then we would meet
Madiba
and be
fever.
one great nation. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Everyone is hostile again. And I'm an artist, so I like nice things. And sometimes I'm driving in a nice car, but I get the looks. My wife get comments that, and traffic lights, that's a nice car. That's our tax money. Because people are fed up as well. People don't know what's what. If they see a black person driving a nice car, they are corrupt. They have tenders, but our country is in a space where something terrible is brewing. We need to be aware. We need to start preaching
Sure.
the peace. We need to start finding ways to be united again.
Just after news, we are going to be talking something that also gets into a bit of the controversial corner. DJ Black Coffee, not long ago, if I'm not mistaken, last year, was caught in a big scandal, according to newspapers, whereby it put his marriage in, well, then not married per se, but putting his marriage into disrepute, and he was caught with these girls who were saying this and that. And I mean, as a young person, I look up to a married man that looks after his wife. To complete the sentence, a married man that looks after his wife. And for me, that was and still is Open Black Coffee. But I was dented. I was heartbroken. But he gets to tell us a story himself. He's here. Let's get into news at 8:30. It is the UJFM Breakfast Shake-Up. Good morning to you and yours. The world is yours. UJFM. Real.
Yeah.
Just talking about Impilo. I mean, there's a black child, there's a white child, there's a colored child who's sitting at home and saying, I'm disabled.
Yeah.
I can't do anything because my aunt looks down on me. That's just qualities.
Yeah.
Hey, son,
Yeah.
which in English means that it's a pity on this child. But, bro, you have changed that ideology.
Yeah, man. I grew up with all those names. That's why today, when people make fun, it doesn't touch me anymore. Because as a kid, you know how mean kids are.
Yeah.
And I think what was mostly challenging for me as a kid was the fact that I was fine. One day then I woke up after an accident with something that was, at the time I thought it was temporary and then became permanent. You know, those were the challenges. As a kid, I used to ask myself, why me, God? You know, why did it happen to me? And I also think the fact that I was young helped me because I didn't think deep. If it happened to me as an adult, it would have affected me more. You know, as a kid, I just learned to deal with it in the only way I could, and made a decision to just keep going forward, And I told myself, okay, this is the situation. You know, I could sit down and sob and, you know, expect pity, or I could just learn, you know, to do things on my own. I remember my mom used to get me someone to come. She would leave for work. She'd get me someone to come make breakfast, you know, clean the house, and then that lady would go home. Then I'll be alone, and you know, and eventually I was like, you know, I need to start doing this on my own. You know, I need to learn how to tie my own shoes. You know, I need to look forward to the next day. You know, and one day I was like, I'm going to buy a car. You know, and everyone at home freaked out. Like,
how are you going to drive the car?
You know, and obviously it's going to be an automatic. I was like, no, my first car was a manual car.
Oh, wow.
You know, because I wanted to learn. You know, I pushed myself that hard. I went to test, and I was testing with those big trucks, you know, and I got my learner's license. And the day I got my learner's license, I got into a flight to Durban, went to sign papers, bought a car, drove back to Joburg. You know, I just learned to not sit down and be looked down upon. And that's the problem we have. Our society can be toxic. The name calling, you know, but they're toxic because they have a very low self-esteem themselves. Do not allow someone who don't see greatness in themselves to see greatness in you. You know, if they tell you, you can't do that, who do you think you are?
Sure.
Do not believe the hype. You know, do not. And that's what happens in the townships where we grow up. You share a dream with friends, like, you know, one day I want to be friends with Puff Daddy.
Oh, come on!
Elokshini, that's the biggest joke of all time.
Yeah.
It will be shared amongst everyone. Like, did you hear what he said? You know, do not believe the hype. If that's what you want, that's what you will get. Just get up and work towards that dream. Work towards every goal that you want. Don't let anyone tell you, no, you can't do it.
You know, my biggest question in context, and I'm coming to the second part, the first part, is the disability part. Obviously, being acknowledged as someone who's disabled. I mean, people on Twitter are so mean. They'll make jokes.
I've seen everything.
Yeah.
You know, you have to grow a backbone. I mean, Kanye, is it, no, it's not Lomo, Kanye Mbao was attacked recently about her complexion, whatever, and whatever the case may be. But when you're 13, you didn't have what you have now in terms of
to brush things off.
You know?
Yeah.
How did you get past it then? Because I know for a fact.
No, it affected me as a kid. You know, but how many times will I cry, you know, as a kid and hate myself? How long will that go on for?
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it comes back to what I was saying about knowing yourself. You know, if you learn very early, you know, to know who you are, it plays a big role, because anything anyone else tell you that you are, you will not believe. You know, and for me, I think that's where all these things came to play. Believing in myself at an early age and knowing and being very patient about my dreams, like, this is what I want. I have a cousin of mine, Usbu, he's at the house now. He's visiting from Durban. He says to me, everything that I say to him I want, he knows I'm going to get. He says he's even afraid that if I said one day, next week I'm dying, he knows I'm gone. You know. It's like, if you were to say next week you're dying, I know you're gone. And that's me, man. If I want something, I will spend my time. I will dedicate everything I have, because I think what we all want in life is happiness, and it's different for different people. And whatever that makes me happy, I will go after it.
Sure. In studio hangouts with the inspiration, he is not just local, he's not just international, he's global. There's a difference. When you're international, but wasn't a little border. When you're global, neck border, here was, coffee, you're back. How many countries have you traveled, bro?
I don't know.
You know,
For real, I don't know.
Yeah.
just last week, I was dreaming about going back to Amsterdam. I got an opportunity to go and MC last year in Amsterdam. There was a festival called Afrovice Festival. And ever since then, I've just been dreaming about going back.
It's such an amazing place, man. I was there
Amsterdam.
last Sunday. Yeah. Really.
Levels!
No, it's really,
Aye.
it's really amazing. There's a festival called Digital. So you must know, Amsterdam has the most festivals in the world. There's
Yeah.
no place that has festivals like Amsterdam. So in a year, I go there maybe 4 or 5 times, because there's so much music happening there. It is really an amazing place.
You know, I remember there was a picture of you and your youngest son, if I'm not mistaken, at that time.
Yeah.
Benzoki were a jet. When the guys could
Oh,
plane,
yeah.
when a jet. When a plane, when a jet. And the three of you walked. And as you're walking, someone took a photo. And I just sat there and I was like, dear God, can I be a husband? Can I be a hardworking and ambitiously crazy person like who put black coffee when it comes to his family? I want to talk about your family. I mean, there's the biggest thing that comes in to say uthando lomndeni. How was your experience in Wagini before you decided to create your own?
Growing up, we grew up in quite a big house, and where it was my father and all his brothers and their kids, and no gogo. You know, when I was born into that household. I think it was 4 siblings, you know, all brothers and all my cousins. So I grew up in a household full of so much laughter. And, you know, we had everything we wanted as kids. You know, I'll be lying if I say to you, it's cool, you know, you get all these stories. You know, we were at home with the TV and other kids will come watch it in the window. You know what I mean? And the concept was with that family, my father, who was the second last, and his bigger brothers, they would contribute. They contributed to build the house together. They contributed in the bills of the house. If they wanted anything in the house, like a big screen TV, they contributed towards it. So we grew up in such a family, and that memory remained with me, even though I moved to stay in the Eastern Cape and my life drastically changed. That's where I had an accident. That's where I used to milk cows, because I'm heading home, you know. So every morning before school, I'd go Nyosenga. In the afternoon, I'd go
So
Nyosenga.
you know you are sorted.
And today is different, man. It's cash money. You know, so I grew up in such a household, and you know, I wasn't so close with my father because in Kulilenga, so I would come on holidays, and he started his new family after they divorced with my mom. So, but he was a cool guy. But like most fathers, he didn't know how to reach out
To express love.
Yeah, you know, like ngesiZulu, you get told by the aunties,
Hey.
you know, but your father will never tell you.
And you look at him like,
Yeah, exactly. And those are things I always wanted to change. You know, I'm like, I want to be able to tell my kids how I feel about them.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be able to. and you watch the older couples, no abahamba, ubaba uhamba phambili, engathi balwile, umama uyalandela. You know, I was like, I want to be able to I want to hold my wife. I want to show affection. You know, I want to be that guy that is real. You know, that's always been my dream. And, you know, when I get a family, I will show them love anytime. You know, that's it.
You know, and you're putting it so perfectly. When I look from the extended, that's what I saw. But to hear it is, for me, it's a reassurance. Not saying that you're perfect. Or flaws.
Of course, man. Of course.
And obviously, when we don't know, I might dance.
No, they will always come. They will always come.
Because that post for me, the newspaper post saying that the Facebook girl, when Zagalani posted it with, you know, you and her had something going on amidst of the build up to the big controversy with even talented people like Black Coffee. I'm gonna go spiritual on you, Black Coffee. Or put Natty rather. And I'm gonna say this. Biblically, we are told that we are going to be given talents that come with responsibilities.
Yeah.
The more the more you have gifts, is the more spiritually the demons will come after you.
Listen, let me tell you something you don't know. The minute you are born, God has granted you that gift. The minute you are born. Because you have that gift when you are born, then the devil will send upon you the best warriors to destroy you. That's why you find most talented people, they have troubled youth. You know, my sister, they were raped. They have a lot to deal with.
In the youth.
Yeah, because the devil is trying. Because what we do, if you watch everything I do in my posts, one of my hashtags is God's very own. Everything I do to praise God. And the devil's job is to stop me from praising God. You know, if I win an award, the first person I'm going to thank is God. You know, and so the more talented you are, the more troubled you are. So as you grow up, like there was a point in my life, and I don't tell the story a lot, where I used to have accidents before the big one.
Yeah.
And Ukoko would go to work, come back at least once a week. Something is wrong with me. I've been to a clinic. I've been to a doctor. I used to have these mini accidents.
Yeah.
You know, and Makulama was very spiritual. She never believed in yang or anything. But this time she was like, I'm going to take you to someone. And she took me to a lady who was Sonto, but Lama Sonto alaita makandlela. You know, she was like, I don't know what to do, because she was, in her words, they are trying to kill you. And she took me there. You know, she said, I don't know what to do with this kid. This is my grandson, and I am responsible for him, but I feel like something is coming. You know, there's always these accidents. He's always injuring himself. He's always, even I'd go play football, I'd come back with stitches. You know, like there was a lot happening at the time. And so she took me to this lady, and this lady was like, no, don't worry. This one is protected. This is me young, and I kept that with me. Every time I know that I am highly guided, you know, and the challenges will come, and they will come in different forms and sizes, man. You know, Jesus was ridiculed. He was. And the people he chose were the worst people. The people he chose to come with him. He chose prostitutes. He chose people that were not perfect. You know, and that's life. In life, we want to, because we know kids are watching. There's a lot of people that follow us. But in reality, we're human. And that is the most important factor to put out there. That at the end of the day, who are we? We're not supernatural. We're human. Some things will get to us. You know, some we will avoid. I don't drink. I don't smoke. You know, and I've never done it. You know, but some things will get to me. You know, and some will not. I've seen a lot, man. Well, locally and internationally, I've seen everything.
Sure. Speaking to someone who is, to us as a nation, as South Africa, a big inspiration. Umuntu osikhumbuzayo ukuthi even in our youth, even though we might trip and fall, the floor is not ours. The sky is.
Yes, man.
And igama lakho Nkosinathi Maphumulo, but also known as DJ Black Coffee. And you know, well, there's so much I can say, there's so much I can ask, but one of the things that sits within me and makes me ponder, we all have a bad day.
Yeah.
What does a bad day look like in the life of Nkosinathi Maphumulo? A bad day, like a horrible day whereby things are going wrong, your reaction, your mind state, your thoughts. I mean, yes, they can be censored because you're on air, but I want to get into that platform because that's where people crack.
Yeah.
Get into one bad day ruins the whole week.
I've had quite a lot, and I don't know. I shut down. I switch off. Literally, I remember I was traveling last year, and I was touring. I'll tell you this. I was touring last year, and one of the things that I wanted to do. This is very personal, but it's okay. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is to build a house for myself and my family.
Sure.
And I've got houses, but this particular one was like, this is my house where I'll be buried. You know, this is where my kids are going to grow up. I don't want to move from this house. And so last year we did our projections in the tour. This is how much money we're going to make. If we want to make more, this is so much more shows we need to do internationally. So last year I pushed myself so much. And the goal was one, to build a home for my family.
Yes, sir.
I downgraded all the flights. I was flying economy overseas, which is, flight to New York is 19 hours. You know, you land there, you go play, you finish, you go fly to somewhere else. It was really, really, really a hard time for me. But I knew the end results. I knew what I wanted to do. And I got to Greece exhausted. Landed, drove to a gig for 3 hours, played, didn't sleep, drove to the airport, only to find out I dropped my passport.
Oh.
You know, so I get to the airport, I can't find my passport. But fortunately, I didn't need to use that particular one to get to Ibiza, because I carry about 3 different passports and they all have different visas. So I was in the Schengen area already. I didn't need a visa, so I could fly. And that day was, you know, for me, I'd lost my passport. I didn't know how I was going to get it back. And I was exhausted. I had to land in Ibiza and go play in a club. I was done, you know, but there's always a goal. For me, there's always a goal. There's always a reason why I'm doing something. And that's how I've sort of like structured my career. If you're going to come with me and say, I want to do a deal with you, I want to see how it's going to translate into my personal life. That's why I don't take endorsement deals a lot, because if I feel I don't need it, it's going to exhaust me or it's going to add into a busy schedule, then I'm not going to do it. So I plan my life in such a way that, do I really need to do this one? You know, and last year was that year where I was pushing. I took trains to save money. I took buses. You know, I've learned to you just calm yourself down. There's nothing else you can do. I don't think I throw tantrums. Do I get upset? I do. My wife would know.
Yeah.
I do get upset, and sometimes we upset with each other. And then I go on radio, I do an interview. They're like, "Hey, how is your wife?" I'm like, "She's the most amazing woman." And at home, I'm not talking to her. She's the most amazing woman. She's listening. She goes to another interview herself. "How's your husband?" "He's so cool." And then we get home, we don't talk to each other until the problem is solved. You know what I mean? It's real, man. It's real. My mother-in-law's calling me. I think she's listening.
But Maphumulo, I don't have unfortunately, the whole day with you, because I mean, I would love to sit with a group of exceptionally 10 young people.
I'd love that, man. I've actually been working on something like that.
Can I be involved?
Yeah, that
Can
would
we
be so
be
cool.
involved?
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Ngiyacela, can we just to learn,
Okay.
just to say,
Who put this up? Was it Amanda?
I spoke to Uneo
No,
and
no.
Amanda.
Cool. Good.
Ngiyacela.
I think I'm back on the 12th around. I'm around for like 2 weeks in May.
Anything.
Can you put together the group?
I can do everything.
Put together the group and then we'll figure it out.
I'll put together
I'll
the
speak
group
to Neo or Amanda and then I've always wanted to do something like that where we can sit and just talk
and just talk about life. Awesome.
it will be great, man, because I feel like our older generation, as much as they would like to, they are very limited. You know, they're very troubled. You know, our fathers were not so amazing.
Yeah.
The system has dented how they see family.
Yeah.
And it's up to us now to open up and embrace the younger people and talk about being real, because being real is not being perfect.
Oh.
You know, and talk about being real and the way forward.
Before we let you go, for now, we obviously last night the big launch X.
Yeah, man.
You spoke about you don't do a lot of endorsements, but there's one endorsement that you've allowed to come into your personal space.
Yeah. The tagline that says "Find your magic." That's what attracted us to that, because this is our conversation every day. We know the impact we have. We're trying to inspire as much as we can. So, yes, X, you want to sell products, cool, but what are you leaving people with? You know, how is this going to translate when it's all said and done? And the tagline spoke to what we're trying to do. And for me to find DJs, you know, it's what I love doing. So we're going to countries in Africa, a place where I don't really travel, and it bothers me so much. I told you I go to Amsterdam at least 5 times a year. I haven't been to Ghana. I haven't been to Ethiopia. You know, I want my footprint in Africa as well. So this is a big opportunity to go to these places, find 5 DJs, go to Ibiza with them, play at a gig. There's 4 consumers that would stand a chance to win. And all the information is at access.com.
Yeah, and also do follow the account. It's at X_SA. You'll get all the information there on how you can get involved. If you're a DJ upcoming, as we always play DJs on the show every Friday, please do note that you have the opportunity to go and play with DJ Black Coffee in Ibiza. All you have to do is put your talent forward. #find your magic. But in conclusion to this conversation, which I pray is the first of many, because ukufunda basibuza kwabaphambili.
Yeah, man. And it's also great to learn while we're all making mistakes as well.
Yeah.
You know, so that you can inspire someone like for real. They're not intimidated by how perfect you are.
Yeah.
You know, we all are growing, and this will be the best time to start conversation and just hang out and hear about people's fears.
Sure.
Yeah.
Look, we're gonna put together that group. Tweet us, I would say, with the Real Black Coffee and myself, Melody Miya.
Oh, I need to send a shout out, man.
Send shout outs, bro.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I need to send a shout out
Please.
to Corruption ZA.
Oh yes. Oh
We got it.
Yeah.
Corruptions at A, you got your shout out. He is one of our resident DJs who is an
man.
upcoming DJ, and he asked for a shout out, and sure, such an inspiration. Thank you very much
Thank
to my
you,
station
guys.
manager Utibato, who has made sure that the opportunity has happened for me, because we normally not allowed to do an interview overnight.
I was
When I-
about to say, but I said I wanted this interview. What did she do?
and I called him, I'm like, Nduna,
I have to do this thing.
Nyakela, how much cows was I sent to your house? And shout out to the next team coming in, Amutlabano. We do apologize, even though we've got into news for time for news, but this is a rare opportunity.
Thank you, guys, man. Thank you for having me. This was the realest interview I've done in a long time. Thank you.
Maphumulo. DJ Black Coffee. Ba, 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 ba. Oh yes. Look, follow me on social media. It's at Real Black Coffee. And from my side, I've been getting your tweets and comments. Apologies, I couldn't comment on everything, but
You tried.
we tried. We tried, and there's that conversation that we're gonna have with DJ Black Coffee. Sit in, and we get to talk about life. And that being said, once again, a big shout out to my station manager, Uset Dibato, for making sure that this could happen, but also for grooming talent like ourselves. All we have is us,
Yes, man.
and you can just work on yourself, and that's the best way for you to be a better person tomorrow. Never mind the noise. As we normally say, team, when we
Love.
say goodbye,
Love.
woo,
Light. Love.
peace, and conquer. Make it happen. It's that simple. Make it happen. We are the UJFM Breakfast Shake-Up, the biggest and the baddest between 6 and 9 in South Africa, but also soon to be in the world. Hello.
Amen.
Boom.